Hello, my name is Paul-Beckett. Uh, in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we call the human condition. Um, I think it's probably something that we've all heard, it's a phrase we've all heard, and we've probably all got a slightly different perspective on what we think it is. My understanding since my self-realization and everything that has brought with it is that the human condition is a sense of lack. It's a sense of loneliness. It's a sense of separation. And it's a funny thing because, well, supposedly it's all we've ever known. So why do we all feel this to one degree or another, no matter how good we are at hiding it? We all feel this sense of, is this all there is? Is this all I am? Is like a sense of inadequacy, almost a sense of like, well, I'm getting by, I'm accumulating things, I'm scoring points, I'm getting all of these kind of little milestones hit as the world puts them in front of me. But why do I still feel like almost I haven't achieved, or it's not enough, or maybe I'm not enough, or maybe my relationship isn't enough, or maybe it's my job that's not enough, and maybe what I need to do is I need to just gather more stuff. I know what will make me happy. I'll get a bigger house, I'll get a better looking partner, I'll get a different job, I'll change my friends. I think it's probably my friends. We've got all of these things outside of ourselves which which are going to make us feel enough, which are going to make us feel like, this is what it is, this is what happiness feels like, this is the point of me being here, because now the variables have all aligned. I've got the right friends, I've got the right house, I've got the right car, I look good, I'm going on this holiday, all of these things. But I think we probably know that these things don't matter. These things really don't matter. They're really, really good plasters. They're really, really good at putting on something for a little while till they peel off, and then you think, and you're like, oh, that car that I bought isn't doing the job. No, I'll just pretend that it is doing the job for a while. I'll pretend that that car has made everything okay. That car's doing the job, but that plaster doesn't stay stuck for very long. And then the mind starts clicking away. Well, what else could it be that I needed? What else could it be that just wasn't right? What am I missing? And as somebody who was probably quite a proud atheist, somebody who took great pleasure in saying that people with faith were weird, somebody that used the kind of phrases like, we're animals, we're born on the planet, we do what we do, and then we die. Just do whatever you do while you're here. That was Paul's life philosophy, and it's so funny. I mean, I'm laughing about it now. I'm sure I was pretty miserable at the time. Um, it's so funny to me now because it's the exact opposite of everything I know to be true. And wow, well, my world went completely changed upside down in a day. In a day, from being somebody with no interest in religion at all, from being somebody with no interest in spirituality, even, because I can understand how the world religions can alienate people, because there's truth in all of them. It's the same message in all of them, but through our Chinese whispers channels, and through human corruption and power plays and all of these things, and just error, just plain and simple error. I can understand how maybe organized religion could make some people be a bit like, that's not quite right. But spirituality, even, I wasn't interested in that. I'd heard of it. Obviously, I'd heard of it. I thought it was a group of hippies like sitting around in fields with crystals. Like, I don't know what I thought they were doing, but I didn't understand what it was until one day, out of the blue, I just remembered what I was. And as soon as I did, I realized that I'd never actually forgotten. I'd never actually forgotten. It was always there in the back of my head, and my mind would have just didn't understand what it was doing there. My mind like didn't even acknowledge its presence. It was always there, and I just threw all of my attention outside myself. or what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to London and I'm going to get this big fashion designer job and I'm going to do all these things, which I did. And um, it didn't bring me any closer to what I wanted. And I had this snap realization, and all of a sudden, I had everything that I wanted. All of a sudden, I wasn't afraid anymore. The thought of death did not bother me. If anything, it kind of, in a weird way, this sounds really weird, but it kind of excited me because I knew that what I was um, experiencing here wasn't the whole story. I had this overwhelming sense of peace. I had this overwhelming sense of bliss. And I knew that what I'd realized of myself was the same for every other person. And thinking about this now, I've been talking with a friend lately as well about some of her situations where she's attracting certain type of people into her life who want her love but then reject it, kind of thing. And the way I've been putting it is, we all want the medicine, but it's kind of like, I want it, but I don't want it, but I want it. Do you know? It's we want the medicine, but are we in a place to be able to take it? Do you know what I mean? Depending on, will we allow ourselves the medicine? That's the thing. And what is the medicine? What is the medicine? Because you could say, oh, we can talk about consciousness and we can talk about the one infinite creator and we can talk about all of those things. But even if you're not ready for all of that chat, the medicine is love. The medicine is love. And it is so different to the definition of love which we've all been taught in the world. This skinny, hungry love that the world has come up with, where there's not enough of it. So you need to really hold on to it. You need to spend it wisely. You siphon your love through these little skinny channels to individual people because you don't have enough anyway. So what you're giving out, oh god, then you better make sure you're giving it to the right place. Oh god, all of a sudden I understood it so differently. I understood that I was love. I understood that I was love. That was the core of my being. So all of a sudden I had too much. I don't, can you have too much? But I was so abundant that it radiated from me. I loved everybody in a way that I didn't think was possible, and they didn't need to prove anything to me. They didn't need to give me anything. They didn't need to reciprocate in any way, because I loved myself. All of a sudden, I realized my true nature, and I loved myself. And I looked at all the errors that Paul had made, and some of them were absolute stinkers, and some of them were. And I just went, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I love myself. I love myself. And with that, with me taking the medicine like that, I all of a sudden realized that I had it all to give. I didn't need to kind of keep on checking my little cupboard to see how much was left and how much love can I spare for you. I didn't need any of that. I just realized that what I gave away, I kept. It was almost the only way for me to keep it, was to give, to give, to give. And it changed everything. And, it's not like when I say love, it's not like, I've now got like, I don't know, 18 wives and, or like all these strangers living in the house with me because I love them so much. It's not that. But it's just knowing that there's no difference between me and you. So I can love you like I can love myself. And with that knowledge and like circumnavigating the world with that knowledge, everything changed. Everything changed for me because I realized I had enough. And that might have been different in other ways. Wasn't always with money, wasn't always with material things, wasn't always with possessions, wasn't always with experiences, but I had enough because I loved myself. And because I loved myself, I knew that I could love every other self. And that's a funny little phrasing, because I know, we say other people, other people makes it sound like there's a big separation between us, and I didn't see that separation anymore. It was another self. It was another self. So the love that I understood, it kind of radiates in every direction, but it goes inwards first. that is taking the medicine, is going, God, I love myself. I love every imperfection. I see them all. I don't want to repeat a lot of them, but I'm not holding myself accountable for things. I'm not whipping myself with guilt. I'm just able to say what I am is love. And that's because I felt this peace that we call God, or this peace that we call, source energy, or this peace that we call, the one infinite creator. Anything, it doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't have a name. I hate to break that to you. It doesn't have a name. But if I could describe it in the best way that I could, it's love. It's giving. It's I have enough. What can I give to you? So, the medicine, yeah. I was talking to a friend. She'd had a difficult relationship with her mother. She'd had a difficult relationship with another few people in her life. Oh, and I think they were all women. I said to her one day when she was telling me about the relationship with her mum, I was like, it's such a shame, because your mum rejected the medicine from you so many times, because she's got such good, loving energy. And I'm sure her mum wanted nothing more in her true nature than to accept that and to run with that and to let that ignite the same thing in herself. But she rejected it. She rejected it from time and time again. And other people in her life the same. I was like, it's so funny, you keep on attracting the same kind of situation into your life with these people who really want what you've got to give them, but they're just not ready to accept it yet. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Because while I'm calling it the medicine, it's almost like we'll only accept it from a certain type of spoon, a certain circumstance, a certain person, only when we're ready for it. Do you know what I mean? So it really had me thinking about how can I offer this, and I do it in different ways, making these videos, putting them out into the world, not knowing who's going to watch them, not knowing who's going to be like, God, rotten tomatoes, you know what I mean? Like dislike, not knowing anything, but knowing that it's my truth. Knowing my truth and sharing that is an act of love. It's an act of service, and I realised that love and service are the same thing. And that doesn't mean to say that you put yourself in a position below someone like a servant, but true service comes from, I'm whole, I'm fulfilled, I need nothing, what can I give to you? That's how I understood service, and that's how I understand love. Love isn't transactional. Love isn't me looking at my little scarce amount and thinking, okay, this person might be able to reciprocate, and somehow I'm going to give this to you, and what will you give back to me? I need the exact amount of love back from you. It just changed. It changed. And with it changing, it freed up my views of all of my relationships. I can love someone even if they don't consciously love me back, because that's okay. Do you know what I mean? It was just this feeling of abundance, and I knew that abundance, we use it in terms of, material things and all of that, and that is a form of abundance. It's the most superficial, surface layer of it, but love is the true abundance. Love is the true wealth, and it's the great healer. It's the great healer. And I realized that if I couldn't love myself, I couldn't love anybody else. And I'd gone through most of my life doing that, calling it love and understanding it as love, as the world understands it. I've got this little bit to give, I give that to you, I expect an equal amount back from you, otherwise it's not a fair exchange and I want mine back. And I think, if we're honest, a lot of us have done that. No matter how selfless you are, we still believe there's some kind of a lack or a scarcity when it comes to love, and we're all petrified that we're going to overinvest and we're not going to get a return on our investment. And so no, that's not what I believe anymore. It's not what I believe. It's not even just not what I believe. It's not what I know. It's not what I know. And the minute I started giving without expecting something back, the minute I set people free, because the world's definition of love is kind of to kindly own something, isn't it? I've give you this love, so you owe me. You owe me somehow. You owe me somehow. I kind of own a little bit of you now because you've accepted this bit of my love. How bizarre. How bizarre. God, no. I give you my love. Run free with it. Go and have the best life that you can. Go and experience everything. Go and learn all of your lessons. Go and do your healing. And know that I'll always be here loving you. So, yeah, the medicine that we're all looking for, the reason why so many of us feel small, vulnerable, insignificant, pointless, angry, all of these things that we could call the human condition, lonely. It's because you haven't took the medicine, and the medicine is to love yourself. And from taking it, giving it, is the most natural next step, because you can't have this feeling of self-love without offering it out. If I don't judge myself, if I don't hold myself to all of my past mistakes with guilt and shame, then how can I do that for you? How can I do that for you? You're instantly forgiven for anything that I might have once thought I needed to forgive you from, because forgiveness isn't even necessary. We're all making mistakes. That's why we're here. It's why we're here. So I wanted to share this today, and I've spoke about love quite a lot, and maybe you're getting bored of listening to it, but I don't care, because it's the only thing that is real in the entire of creation. Okay, and everything else can argue the fact. The world will argue the fact that it's not, and look how concrete all of these things seem. But everything else is a fear of a lack of love, or a perceived lack of love. Everything. So how do you love yourself? First of all, know that the character that you're playing is a dream character in a dream, interacting with other dream characters who are actually just a different aspect of yourself. Okay? Paul made some stinking mistakes, like I say, and would have liked to have crucified himself for them again and again, and did for a lot of things. But then me going, I look at this, I let it go. I look at this, I let it go. If I needed to ask for forgiveness or apologise, I did that. I didn't do it with everybody. I did it with some of the bigger things that I wasn't able to release on my own. Well, I probably was able to release on my own, but I didn't feel like I was at that stage. So I had to go to some people and say, I've done this. I'm sorry. Could you forgive me? And I was really, really lucky, because I was forgiven on every turn. But it was also because I approached it the way I did. It's so funny, when my energy changed, the energy changed all around me. But it had to change with me. Remember, nothing changes on the outside without an internal change. But we're so conditioned to look for ourselves outside of ourselves, to look at the situation that we're in, to look at the things that we have, the things we don't have, and try and build a portrait of ourselves out of that. Everything's inside. Everything is inside. So, things like meditation, some people go, am I doing it right? Are any of us doing it right? I don't know. I have been meditating all of this year since this happened for me, and sometimes I think I just lie and think for an hour, to be honest. But then, is that a form of prayer almost? Because I'm not thinking about what's going in the washing machine or things like that. I'm consciously thinking. I'm guiding my thinking to things related to what's going on, questions that I'm asking. And then sometimes I have those gorgeous little times where I'm not thinking about anything, and I've just lay there for long enough. My mind's managed to calm down, and it's almost like, have you ever got like a polo neck jumper and you're struggling to get your head out of it, and then you finally pull it out, and it's like, oh, I can breathe again. It's like one of those feelings. All of a sudden, the spaciousness, the sense of freedom, the sense of well-being. So I think meditation is a really good inroad to things like that. Some people, you're going to lay there the first time you do it and you're going to say, this is impossible. I did. I certainly did. I still have times like that. Okay, maybe there's some like Olympic level meditators out there who don't, and also you get used to it. It's like a muscle. The more you work it out, the easier it is to flex. But going in, it's just a way to go inside. Okay, it's just a suggestion for you. It might work for you. It might not work for you. But it was a reason. It was one of the reasons that I realized that I had to make changes inside myself. Now, maybe I'm a bit of a funny case study because I had a sudden awakening, a sudden realizing of my true nature. And before that, I had a Kundalini awakening, which I think was an energetic change in my body. So I know that that's not the case for everybody, but I don't think it has to be. I don't think it has to be because as surely as I know myself, I know you because I know there's no me in you. So this is for you. This is waiting for you, however you access it. Okay? But access it by self-love. Try your best to look at the past, see all the mistakes you made, and then go in the bin. In the bin with you. In the bin with you, and just have kind self-talk. Okay? I'm not saying police your thoughts because then it all gets a bit anxious and like strained. But when these things come up again, question them. Question it. You know, when it comes up, oh, I'm a bit like this. I'm a bit naughty. I'm a bit that. God, I'm manipulative. Question it. Am I? Is that truly who I am? So show me the evidence. Who is this I? Who is this I who's the manipulator? Because it's not you. It's the character you're playing. You are this loving force behind all of that. So be kind to yourself before you can be kind to anybody else even. Okay? Even if that's the order that it needs to take. But also, you can go across it from just doing nice things for people. I know I've probably said this before. In fact, I know I have said it before. But when I go out of my way to be kind to someone, when I go out of my way to treat somebody with love, when I go out of my way to serve in some way, I feel the instant benefit. Okay? Giving and receiving are completely simultaneous. Okay, so quite a simple message in this video, okay? And I think sometimes the simpler it is, the more people are like, oh, because this is simple, by the way. I didn't become something that I wasn't before. I wasn't given a trophy like, oh, well done, you're now self-realized. All I did was let go of the idea of what I'm not, okay? And love is the same kind of concept. It's not about buying 20 red roses. It's not about, giving extravagant gifts. It's not about making yourself like some kind of doormat for someone. It's not about any of those things. It's just about having that self-knowledge of what you are, so what they must be. And with that comes compassion. With that comes understanding. You're dealing with a different aspect of yourself, and they are not their character and they are not their behavior. And sometimes people's characters and behaviors are really hard to look by, because some characters are really tough to be around. Some behaviors are, you go, that's inexcusable, this horrific behavior, and I know it goes on. I know it goes on. I'm not saying you need to put yourself in the way of that, but you can still look and go, I feel compassion for you. I feel compassion for you having to play such a tough character. I feel compassion that your character means that you act out in this way, because I didn't have that. I had quite an easy one, as it turns out, So holding that compassion for people, holding the idea in my mind that I know the perfection of what you are, a form of love. I'm not going up, I'm not hugging strangers, I'm not kissing them, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not giving them a tenner every time I see them, but I'm holding that giving, that service. And my service to them is, I know your perfection. You haven't forgot it. You're just dreaming that you have. I know your perfection. Okay? Like almost a blessing, isn't it? It's almost a blessing. It's like, I see you. I see you. And I don't see this funny shape that you're in. And I don't see this character that you're playing. And I don't see the behaviour that you're acting out in. But I see you. I see you and I know what you are. What greater act of love is there than that? There's no greater act of love than I can give. So have a little think and apply it to yourself. Okay? Apply it to yourself, and if loving yourself seems too hard, apply it to others in that way. Apply it to others in that way. Little random acts of kindness, or just a holding in your mind of, you are perfect, I know you're perfect. You might be the most obnoxious person I've ever met, but in me, I recognize what's in you. So, love, re-educate yourself. Re-educate yourself is what it means. It is not a scarcity. It's not a lack. It's not spent transactionally, okay? You are that. You can never run out of it. You have got that much that if you give it for every day the rest of your life, you will never run out. In fact, you'll be more abundant in it. It grows in you the more you give it, okay? So have a little think, and I love you.